Welcome back, you guys, to episode 14 of PostCombatMTG, and today... What the fuck? Did it stop?
Or did it glitch?
I don't know. It's like frozen, but it's still moving. Oh my god, that's fine, whatever. Okay. Welcome back, you guys, to episode 14 of PostCombatMTG. Today we're going to actually just keep it very general and talk about just deck archetypes and like what we like, what we don't like, some of the strategies. Maybe we can talk about something you guys have never played before. So yeah, I'm going to bring up the first one.
Yeah, so the first one I kind of recently started getting into this archetype a little more, and it's so fun, and it's clone. I know you've been into that for a little bit, but
My rogues
like clone tribal decks, they're so cool because you don't have to put a care in the world about what you're like.
No.
You don't need synergy, you don't need nothing. You're just like, I'm just gonna clone your good stuff, and I ended up I was on X Mage and I tested out a Yidris.
Okay.
It was a Yidris clone deck.
4-color?
It was 4-color clone.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was really cool. So it was really neat because you use Yidris' cascade trigger to just cascade like into more clone effects.
Yeah, because they're usually ETBs rather than cast.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool to like, you know, you cascade into like, all right, I'm gonna cascade into like a rights replication or a clone or whatever it is, and you just keep targeting like good stuff because clone effects they're not expensive, but they're like 4 mana, so casting a few a turn is not.
There's a few cheap ones like Phyrexian Metamorph.
Yeah, that's cheap.
That's a blue one, like the Phyrexian.
Yeah, the Phyrexian mana, Phyrexian blue, and so it's cool to like, because usually I'm like, I played a clone deck with, I forget who it was, but you'd be like, clone, pass turn. Yeah. Right? Turn comes around, I'm going to clone something else. With Aegis, you're like, I'm going to clone, and I'm going to hit every good target that's on the board. And eventually you just have this army of like, the best stuff. Like, alright, I have an Ulamog, I have a Crater Oak Behemoth, like, you just have all this really cool stuff that...
Yeah, my favorite thing about clone is that like, it's kind of, like, foolproof in itself, because, say, Caitlyn plays an Ulamog, and I'm going to clone that.
Yeah.
If the control player is going to counter anything, they're going to counter the Ulamog first. So you know if the Ulamog comes out, you have a free chance to clone that, and no one's going to counter it, because they would have used it already. And
I also want, like, there's some really cool clone cards that like I just wanted to touch on. The one is Bruniklad, that new commander that came out and hit. Oh, so yeah, because he's I don't like him as a commander because he's way too expensive. But he's 4 and red blue for a 4/4. Creature tokens you control have haste, which is already great.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of your combat on your turn, create a 2/1 blue mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each token you control becomes a copy of that token. So if you put out, let's say, trying to think of like what's a cool token you can make. Let's say you put out a copy, like you have a Desolation Twin, which is like that 10 for, it's a 10 mana 10/10, and you make another 10/10 with it. Just clone that, and all of a sudden all your like 1/1s are 10/10s, and you just like you swing in.
It's pretty great.
It's really cool. And then there's stuff like Clone Legion, which is just copying someone's whole board. You just 1-for-1 clone their whole board, and it's just really. It's really cool. And then you throw stuff in there like Reverberate. Yeah, and I reverberate like my right replication and all that. It gets really cool, and it's one of those decks that I don't think takes a lot of. I don't want to like say this in like a demeaning way, but like it doesn't take a lot of like thought process or strategy. It's just make the biggest stuff and
it's like
clone the big stuff, and it's really.
It's like
really...
the last Game Nights episode with the special guest they brought on. Anything you can do, I can do better.
Oh yeah,
you basically just take someone else's deck and you times it by 2.
Yeah, and the one I really played, and I've actually debated building, is Temet. He was from Amonkhet.
The Mummy? Cassius played that.
Yes, yeah, it was him. So because he makes tokens unblockable, which kind of sounds lame, because most people are like, oh, I'm going to make a 1/1 token. Yeah,
but he used Infect, right?
Well, he used Infect, I think, but I played one where you do the same thing. You play Rights of Replication, and now you make a copy of Ulamog, and now you have an unblockable Ulamog, or you make an unblockable Infect. Whatever they're playing, you're just going to swing it at them, unblockable. And I think it gets a +1/+1 buff, which is really cool. But, yeah, clone's been my new love lately. I love clones.
So, my favorite archetype, Jordan knows, it's actually difficult to play in a play group. Actually, it's difficult to play all the time because most people hate it. and it's Chaos. Chaos is similar to Group Hug. Some would argue it's the opposite, because it kind of fucks everyone up instead of helping everyone. But the way I see it is that it just gives everyone the same chance to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But it also depends how you play it, because a lot of people play Chaos as land destruction, stacks, board clears, stuff like that.
Yeah, almost group slug, but...
Yeah, but the Chaos I sort of play is like a lot of reverberates and forks with a bunch of like red damagey spells and a lot of like swapping board states and creatures and stuff.
Yeah.
I think we played that one game at the shop where I think I did a Thief of Auctions, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Auction Thief? I don't know.
The one where everyone, you put all the permanents.
Yeah, you would basically draft a new game off of all the permanents, including lands on the board. Like, you take all the lands, all the creatures, put them in the middle, and you go around in circle and just take one card for your board at a time.
Yeah, because that was the game when Jeremy ended up with 3 soul rings.
Yeah, he had
and someone walked by the table and they're like, "Do you guys want to play Commander?" And we're like, "Yeah, we do." It's just
no one took the soul rings, and he took all 3 first. It was so funny. But yeah, I think Chaos is fun. It's just it really depends on your play group, because if you're playing in a competitive play group, your friends are probably not gonna enjoy playing Chaos against you.
Chaos. Here, my thing with Chaos is if you're playing Chaos, you need to have a way out of the game.
Yeah,
You have to win. Otherwise, it's just like Group Hug. Like you said, it's like Group Hug. If you play Group Hug without winning, you're just kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to say messing the game up, but you're just making the game complicated and crazy without any kind of...
I don't know, I feel like Group Hug without a win condition just like speeds the game up to turn 10. It just makes the game go faster.
It does make the game go faster, but then...
It just gives the power to the wrong
it's one of those things where if you have let's say you're playing in a very creature heavy meta,
yeah.
and everyone ramps, everyone gets to put stuff out, and not everyone has these giant boards, and they're just like sitting there staring at each other because no one can swing in anyone. Yeah. It can get...
Because no one can really take...
And don't get me wrong, that's like one situation, but I think that's why I love the secondary win conditions in Group Hug, like play Approach and... What's that stupid one? Azor's Console? I forget what it is. There's a bunch of really cool alternate win conditions you can do.
There's Door to Nothingness, which I like.
Door to Nothingness, yeah.
Chaos decks.
Yeah, you can do cool stuff. Like, you don't have to have like the win condition like everyone else does, like swing in and win or whatever it is, but have a way or two out. At least.
I have a Progenitus Chaos deck that I play on X-Mage a lot, and it's basically 5-color Chaos, but then my win con is Progenitus or Door to Nothingness, and I basically just cast Progenitus. He's a 10/10 protection from everything.
Love it.
It's pretty broken, but you basically get Progenitus out and then play something like the Thief of Auctions and just fuck up everyone's board, and then you just swing with Progenitus.
Yeah, that to me though. I mean, it's still the essence of Chaos with a way out.
Or you
of
just
the game.
pay double Wooburg and win with Door to Nothingness.
And that's like you said, like with Chaos and Group Hug, you can draw. Yes, they speed games up, but they can also drag games out to
yeah, for sure.
awful degrees, and it's.
All right. The next one.
Okay, so my next one is a little more broad than I originally intended, but this is probably my favorite archetype ever, and that's graveyards.
Oh yeah.
It's graveyard decks.
Ever since I've known you, you've been playing graveyard decks.
So my main decks are Lord Windgrace and Duretti, and they both are very, very synergistic to the graveyard. I love graveyard so much because graveyard is just an extension of your hand. Yeah. If you are playing a graveyard deck, yes, your hand limit is 7, but your hand might as well be your graveyard too because you have access to almost all of it all the time.
Well, your hand's 7, and then say 2 of those cards get a card back from your graveyard, and your graveyard has 20 cards in it. Your hand is now 27 cards.
And also I love the feeling of not caring if my stuff dies.
Yeah.
Oh no, my Alacia deck's a graveyard deck too. I have 3. So I have a creature-based graveyard deck, a land, and an artifact, all graveyard-based.
Yeah.
And
you just need an enchantment. Oh wait, you had one. Zerg. You got rid of it.
I did.
You could have had all 4.
I could have, yeah, but it was very It's I don't know. I don't know what draws me to it as much as I just love the graveyard interactions.
Yeah.
And I feel like it catches people by surprise so often. I'm like, I'm just gonna put this in my graveyard, and then they're just like, oh, it's in the graveyard. Who cares? And then I'm just like, bring it back out and swing it with haste, and everyone's like, oh, like what? How do I like? Yeah. I think people forget about the graveyard.
Well, and I think that's why graveyard hate is so big in our like meta as a play group. A lot of
Because
us
of
play
me specifically?
Well, not just like the
this.
graveyard decks. Because Caitlin plays a lot of graveyard, I feel like, too. I only have one black deck, and it's Ailey.
Yeah.
But Johnny, I don't know, Johnny plays...
He plays a lot of like just aggro-y decks.
He plays a lot of black decks, but they're aggro-y.
Yeah, they are. And then,
like he has Rakdos and, what's the vampire one? Markov?
Caitlin's aren't graveyard. She's also very aware that like getting stuff back out of your graveyard is amazing. So I think
she takes use of the value that
she sprinkles graveyard recursion in her decks. Like mine are just like about my graveyard, which is also why I love Dredge. In modern, like every modern deck, I'm like that's boring. And then I'm just like, but I say Dredge, and I'm like, oh, my whole deck's in my graveyard. This is great. I love it.
When I first started playing Magic, Jordan was playing Modern, and he introduced me to Modern, and I bought this really crappy. It was like a $90 Shaman tribal deck.
Yeah, it was cool.
Red green. I mean, I won like a few games, and it did pretty decent. But then he would just stomp on me with his black Dredge deck every time, and I would just get so pissed. And then that's when I was like, all right, I'm done. We're going to Commander now.
And that was fine, because I'm actually building... I'm going to build Dredge again.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going to build...
Commander or Modern?
No, Modern. I'm going to start playing Modern again, I think. I'm going to slowly... But because everyone else, every other deck, I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
It needs to be graveyardy. But
I feel it.
Graveyard love.
The next... Well, okay, mine's more general. And I kind of just want to talk about control.
Okay.
As a whole. A lot of people hate control. I'm a big fan of it, but I understand, like, when I'm playing against it, I'm going to get salty. I feel like that's natural, though, with most control decks, because it's basically telling you can't play the deck the way you want to play it.
Yeah, for the most part.
But I feel like most control decks, the way they win is very specific on whether or not I like them. Because, like, a lot of control decks will just combo out, or a lot of control decks are stacks, or something like that. I don't know. I like control.
I like control as well. I
feel like we have a lot of control decks in our...
We have... I mean, counter spells are very frequent.
Yeah.
But
Caitlin plays a lot of control. My Rose deck is a control deck, basically. It's clone/control.
And there's a lot of... And that's my... Again, I don't want this to come across as, like, wrong.
Uh-oh.
But...
I'm ready.
Being that hateful towards a control archetype is a little childish to me. Because... The point of this game is to win. Like, your goal is to, like, beat the other players. Yeah. So why would I let you do what you want and go unchecked? Yeah. Like, why? That's dumb. If everyone just does what they want, then this game becomes boring and just who can do the thing the fastest. If you have a control player in your meta, it changes... Just having a blue deck in your meta just changes everything.
It brings up the power level, I feel. Which we always enjoy. A lot of play groups I see on Reddit, like people complain in the Magic subreddit that like the groups get too competitive. But Jordan will always like be like, "Hey, I just built this deck and it's pretty scary, just so you know." Yeah. And like I play it and I love it, and it just makes me want to build a better deck. Yeah, or like improve mine.
Like Riley texted me the other day and was like, "Hey, do you care if I play taking turns?" Like a taking turns deck, like disloyate turns.
Oh, extra turns.
Yeah, I said no, and I was like, "No, I'm like, you can, but just so you know, if your win condition is like taking infinite extra turns, I'm just gonna like out control you the whole time.
We're just gonna play Azor.
And then he texted me. He goes, "It's too expensive just to take some extra turns, so I'm not building it." Yeah. I'm like, "Okay, good." But it's one of those. I think it's childish to like pout when you get countered. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like there are times I've pouted when I've gotten countered, but it's the people who like get.
Like tilted over.
They just like, I'm gonna counter, like it's even like unimportant, like, oh, I'm gonna counter your Ulamog. And they get so, well, why wouldn't I counter that? It's terrible.
Once you let that go through, like it's game over.
Like why would I let you win? Yeah. And but on the other end of it, I also hate like Tower End decks.
Yeah, Tower End I was gonna say is my exception to that. Yeah. Because Tower End isn't built around control. It's built around the 2/2 flying drakes. Right. And the way to get that is by countering everything. Every spell. It's not just counter Ulamog and counter Psych Rift. It's counter everything they do.
Every part they play is getting countered, and that to me is like that is a not fun experience to me. Like for me, when I look at decks that are that heavy with control, like I play a mono blue Mistform Ultimates deck, and it has control in it. Caitlin played a Azor control, like it was a control deck, and then she doesn't like. it wasn't. There was a lot of counter spells in it. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't her only goal to counter everything. Yeah. And if you're a smart control player, you don't counter everything.
Right. Well, most control decks, the only goal isn't to just counter shit. And if you think about it, every deck, 98% of the decks in Commander right now have removal in it, or have a counter spell, or have a board clear. So to get mad that like one deck just has like 10 more than the rest of them, I don't know.
And I don't also love the stigma that blue is the control color.
Because it's not necessarily.
I see people complain online like, I hate blue, blue's unfair, and all this stuff. Control is not just counter spells. Like, control is, like, my Alacia deck I consider a control. It's hate bears, but it's like I'm stopping you from doing the things you want to do.
Anything that affects someone else's board state.
I'm playing Zozu. You play lands, you're gonna take damage. I play Aven Mind Sensor. If you're gonna tutor, you're only looking at the top 3. That's not me stopping what you're doing, but it's me limiting. It's me in a way controlling what you're doing.
I could argue that red and white are also equally have just as many control aspects as blue does, but everyone just assumes blue because of counterspell.
Black has
so much.
Has all the removal you'll ever need.
Green's probably the only color that doesn't have control aspects.
I would say that. Yeah, and white's a little less heavy on the control. It's probably what, blue, black.
I would say blue, black, red, white.
Yeah, red, white, green, and that's.
But I'd say white and red are pretty close. White has a lot, if you think about it, but
they're all. I mean, again, it comes down to the color wheel. All of them have their strengths. Like white's exiling, red you have to do damage to get rid of the stuff.
Yeah. Well, I feel like white has a lot of other manipulation too. Like you said, Aven Mind Sensor.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They have a lot of board clears. They have like all the
Wrath, Fumigate, all of that. There's another really good. Like Fiend Hunter and Flicker Wisp and all that stuff that. Exiles,
like Authority of Consuls, like that Rule of Consuls.
Oh yeah, I forgot
card I play. White has a lot, but blue doesn't have that much when you think about it, because blue just has counter spells. Mm-hmm. They don't have anything else. They don't have destroy target creature. They bounce.
Do, but they're weird.
They have bounce. Creatures like evacuate.
They have There's Pongify, which is destroy target creature, but they get like a 3. It's like a very niche.
Yeah. They do weird stuff, like they have Reality Shift, the Manifest. It's
like exile creature,
make a 2/2.
Yeah, and it's so I think the word control and blue have become, or I'm sorry, the control and counter have become the same word to a lot of people, and it's not the case. But yeah, I didn't think we did that much to say about control. That was passionate.
I know.
I love it.
That's why I want to keep it general, because I feel like I have a lot to say about the bigger stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're next.
Yeah, so the other one that I really like is like the big mana decks and like ramp decks.
Who doesn't?
Because when you sit down to play Magic the first time ever, if I hand you a deck of cards that you don't know what they do, but you know this thing's a 10/10, and it doesn't have evasion, doesn't have nothing, but you're just like, yes, this is the coolest card, it's big, it's fat, it's fun. Everyone who started playing Magic, because like back in like when you started playing Magic, you didn't understand the value of fetch land.
No, I
hated fetch. I have a meme to show you later about it. Yeah, I have a meme to show you about fetch lands later. But
when I first started playing Magic, for people who don't know, Jordan tried to explain to me the importance of fetch lands, because I was pissed on why they were like $50 for nothing. And I literally tried to make a T-shirt that said "Fetch lands are bad." Change my mind, like all this stuff.
But
I finally get them now. So. But it took me a year.
It's just, but you don't see the value of a fetch land, but you do see the value of a dumb creature, just a big dumb stupid creature. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, Desolation Twin, 10 mana for 2 10/10s. They have no evasion. They have nothing. That even has value to it. Some of them have just no value. It's just like there's that one in Standard I know. It's 5 green. So it's green for a 10/10.
Is that a dinosaur?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's not objectively good.
No.
But that's fun.
In a Commander, that'd be awful. I feel.
Yeah, it's terrible, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And so.
A good example, I think, is Wormcoil Engine. I love that card.
That might be my top 3 favorite cards ever printed.
That card is so good.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for the price, I'd have it in most decks.
Yeah, it's a bit because it's amazing. Yeah. I look with these big mana decks that do these things where you're just like pump. You can that whole thing where an 8 drop's pretty high. You just don't care. You're just like, I'm going to slam 8 drops, I'm going to slam 10 drops.
And most of those decks that do that also have ways of manipulating those creatures and spells in and cheat them in. Like using Cascade or Joda,
Yeah.
for example. Joda's the first one that Jordan just looked up. But
301 bit.
and if anyone here watches Command Zone, Josh and Jimmy always talk about the most powerful thing you can do with Magic is cheat mana costs.
Yep.
Cheat stuff in for free. So those decks usually do pretty well.
Like, I love Jorah the Gitsu.
I've never played her.
It's so.
I know what she does.
Yeah, it's the 2 mana exile a creature, and it comes in with 4 suspend counters on it. So then you drop her on turn 3. Next turn you put something in with suspend on it, and that thing comes in with haste.
Yeah.
That is so fun when you're just like, I'm gonna suspend a Ulamog or an Emrakul or anything, a Crater Hoof Behemoth, anything cool. You couldn't in those colors, but whatever. Whatever.
It's Magic, make it happen.
Yeah, but
put it in the 99.
It's one of those, like, these big mana decks. They let you play with that, like, childlike mindset you had when you first started playing Magic. And I know the older you get in, like, your Magic life, you want to combo out, you want to do cool interactions, you don't care as much about, like, beatdowny swings.
Yeah.
But man, it's fun every here and again. Just to, like, Caitlin's her Azuri Kala Progress deck. They're all 1/1s, mind you. Every day, but then they become 20/20s.
Yeah.
And you just never see someone more giddy when they turn to 20/20s.
Right.
There's like 20/20
well, even
from that
her,
too.
her Kydel deck, the amount of mana she produces in that deck and the things she can make with that is insane.
Disgusting.
It's like so good.
That's a big thing that I think with her that deck especially. She can make so much generic mana.
Mm-hmm.
It's half the time I'm like, what? Like she'll like float 30, and I'm like, what are you gonna do with all that? And then she's just like, bunch of Eldrazi, Paradox
Draw
Engine,
40 cards.
untapped, taps it again, extra turn. I'm just like, oh, and it's so, that to me is like, that is what I think everybody wants to do when they start playing Magic.
Yeah.
I want to have a board of 20/20s.
Well, that's what I thought when I first started playing was the more spells you cast, the better you're doing.
Yeah.
Which isn't always necessarily true, but for the most part, it is.
Yeah, for the most part. But you get to play cool cards, like Cruel Ultimatum, and Zendikar Resurgent, and Progenitus, Terastodon, Zakama.
But Zakama's broken.
Zakama is, as a big mana commander, is busted.
Yeah. I had a Zakama deck that I played against Jordan and Caitlin.
Yeah.
It was proxied, but it got to a point where they destroyed Zakama, and then I casted him for 28.
You're like,
and I still had mana to do stuff with, because I had Zendikar Resurgent out and another mana. Mirari's Wake. So I was tapping for like 8.
And you'd rant so hard that you're, we killed him like, I don't know how many times, and you're like, I'm going to cast Zakama for 28, and we're like, alright, and you're like, oh, I have like 8 mana floated, and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. Well, even, I feel like I've won the most games ever in Commander using Torment of Hailfire, and that's a huge mana card that you have 20 mana and some black, and you cast that, you win the game.
Good. Yeah. How often does that card not win you the game?
I don't think, unless someone's countered it, it's never not.
If it successfully resolves, you win.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you played it wrong.
Because you usually don't cast it for under anything like 10. Like the X is 10. Because after about 8 or 9, it's like, discarding your hand. And
well, even last week, I remember Johnny was like, I can discard my whole hand and sack all my permanents, and I'll go down to 2.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'll just like take the damage and end it. I'm not going to like sack all my...
Yeah, he either could have gone down to 2 or sacked his entire board state.
Right.
So it's like...
And discard his hand.
Yeah. The next archetype I want to talk about is actually another controversial one.
Ooh.
Weird. Kevin likes weird things.
We're at 25 minutes, by the way.
Okay. Pillow Fort. I love it. And a lot of people don't. Jordan, you don't like it?
I
understand why people don't like it.
I do not hate it. I do not like it. I just have had weird experiences with it.
I think it's very specific on how you play it. I just wanted to talk about it for a little bit. My favorite Pillow Fort deck has to be Archetypes, the dragon wall guy.
Oh, okay, he's cool. Arcades a strategist. Yeah.
Green, blue, white. All walls that are like... If you know Magic, you know white has the most broken walls ever. They all fly, they all have like lifelink and like regenerate, and they're all like 1/10s. And then Arcadis makes some 10/1s that can swing. And then in the colors blue and white, you have Propaganda, you have Ghostly Prison, Crawl Space you can put in any deck.
Sphere of Safety.
Yeah, Sphere of Safety, just stuff like that where you kind of just like put a bunch of walls out for cheap because a green, you ramp. Most walls cost like 2 or 3. And then you just kind of sit there with your mana, and then you wait to just cast something big.
Yeah.
Like towards the end game, where you cast. I always cast Approach in those decks.
Yeah, Approach is a good one.
Because then you have 7 turns, and everyone's swinging at you, but you have walls, and they have to pay a bunch of mana. And I just don't like when people play like Pillow 40 decks and just kind of durdle around, and they kind of just waste the game.
Just sit there, yeah.
Because Archetypes, I feel like specifically, he's aggro.
Well, he lets you swing them, which is
because like if you're playing a
huge.
door in the siege tower, you just have a bunch of big creatures that have big toughness, but like you don't necessarily swing them. But like Archetypes has vigilance, and a lot of the walls have vigilance, and you're playing white, so you can give things lifelink and vigilance, and it's a good deck.
One of my favorite Pillow Fort commanders, and because it's the most unconventional Pillow Fort commander, is
What you're gonna say?
Gahiji or whatever his name is.
Guy?
Because he does not protect you in a way of like a Seer Safety or a Propaganda or whatever. Because whenever a creature attacks one or more opponents, your opponents or planeswalkers, your opponent's control, that creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You give everyone all the incentive in the world to swing at each other and just ignore that you exist. That's amazing.
Exactly what my Xantra deck is, and it's why I'm so excited to build it.
Every week I was
know.
waiting. It needs to happen.
Well, I'm just waiting for store credit. Card Kingdom lost some shit, but we're good. They gave me my money, so I'm just waiting.
We stand Card Kingdom.
But Xantra is basically the same thing. You give a bunch of people creatures and stuff to do things with. You give them cards, and then you just sit there with a bunch of walls and stuff like that, and I love it.
So we're gonna now. I mean, those are our archetypes that we like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Some more than others. It's okay. It's fine.
It's just our perspective. I mean, none of this is like, hey, take this for verbatim.
This is all preference. Because, like, you like what you like. I hate aggro decks, but you know what? A lot of people love them, and that's fun.
And I hate stacks, but...
When I play one. I hate bears and stacks are different.
No, it's a completely different. I'm talking about, like, orbs and stuff like that.
We're going to talk about our favorite things of the week.
Yeah.
So this week, remember last week when both the things I mentioned were like concerts I couldn't go to?
Yeah, I remember.
And I was just like so bummed. This week is a concert I'm going to.
Oh.
I'm going.
I'm excited.
So I woke up.
Is it Dodie?
We are going to see Dodie.
We are.
But
we'll save that for September.
That's September. We're going to see Dodie. But I woke up the other morning, and I follow a bunch of people from Bravo Artists, who is the big production company in Cleveland who book all our shows and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them did something crazy and booked Sum 41.
Okay.
So I think everyone knows Sum 41, at least, like, the song In Too Deep or like Fat Lip, like you've heard them. If you grew up in the 90s and like early 2000s, you definitely know Sum 41. They were pretty popular. I was like, oh, cool, Sum 40. Their lead singer just got out of rehab. He had a really bad heroin problem, and they haven't been around for a while. So I was like, oh, cool, they're coming to Cleveland. I'm like, they're going to play like the House of Blues or like the Agora or something. I look at it, and they're playing the Fantasy, which is in Lakewood. Yeah, no one does. It's a really, really, really stingy old venue.
Sounds like it. Lakewood.
It's right in the middle of Lakewood.
Lakewood.
It is a 350 cap venue.
Seriously?
350 people max in this venue.
You got tickets?
Got tickets.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
I got this.
Are they sold out?
They're sold out.
Oh,
so it's 350 people with no barrier, like nothing separating the stage and the crowd.
So it's gonna be like a good old.
It's gonna be like a good old pop punk show, and I got tickets. Well, I woke up on Wednesday to do the pre-sale, but I didn't know those were the VIP only. They're like $108. Yeah. You can meet the band and all that crap. I didn't care, but I woke up on Friday at 9:55, tickets on sale at 10. By 10:01, I sent everyone the confirmation. That's going. I'm like, we're going to Sum 41, so we're good. So that's May 24th, which is actually the weekend of my birthday.
Oh,
that's really cool. So
it's gonna be a good time.
So I get to go see Sum 41 at a 350 cap venue, and I am, and 14-year-old me has just never been more excited.
Oh, I know, that's so insane.
It's not
we're going to so many concerts this year, and I'm here for it. Or at least I am.
I know. Well, you guys get to go see Ariana.
I know. Ariana Grande. I'm excited. No shame. So my favorite thing of the week is actually another TV show. Weird. I do it like every week. But
TV's great.
It's Ink Masters. I feel like everyone.
Oh yeah, Ink Masters is great. You got tattooed by someone from that, didn't you?
Yeah, Joey Perez.
Yeah.
Yeah, lately I've been like really into watching like YouTube videos and like TV shows of tattooers and just watching them do it. But I don't know, it's weird. But I don't know, I really enjoy watching the old episodes of Ink Masters, and I'm always one of those people who watches like trash reality TV because I have no drama in my life. So like I need an outlet to like get mad at, you know?
I think it's so funny that you're so into like the T spelling.
Oh, I know.
In your real life, you're like, no.
No, exactly. I hate confrontation in real life, but if I can watch these two like heavily tattooed guys like almost fist fight over like some piece on someone's chest,
You're
like
gonna
I'm
do
here
it.
for it. Yeah, it's just a really fun show. I think I'm on season 8 right now.
Damn.
But
You watch all the
I
seasons?
didn't watch
Oh,
the first 3, but I've watched like 5
Okay.
so far. So
That's
I'm going.
Ink Masters is really cool. I know. Who was there? Was a. Never mind. There was.
Okay.
There was. I just remember there was a really good tattoo artist that came off that show, and I can't remember who he was.
Yeah. Well, that show's been opening my eyes to so many cool tattoo artists that like I've never heard of. Even the people who like go home the first few weeks are still like world renowned.
Yeah, they're
tattoo
awesome,
artists.
yeah.
It's like insane, and people fly out. Like I've seen a lot of Russian tattoo artists that I didn't know existed, and their art's like amazing.
I guess in Russia, tattooing is like a
It's
pretty.
huge.
That's like a really big like.
Yeah.
You can almost like celebrity status.
Yeah, exactly.
When you tattoo over there.
And I don't like if I could get to Russia right now and get tattooed, like it happened already. So
I just go to Russia, get
get
tattooed,
slick, yeah.
drive on the sidewalk,
literally
go meet the dudes from.
stop a douchebag, meet them in Moscow. All right, well, let us know how you feel about our Archetypes episode. If you have anything else you want to see from us, let us know. And we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.